Welcome to the Cedric Live Show. On the show today, we have none other than Moses Ssali, aka Bebe Cool. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Thank you.
And it's an honor to have you. Thank you for coming on the show. I don't even know where to start with you because, you know, in your short life, you've done so many things. I mean, recently you won the Afrima Award. You've sung for Nelson Mandela. You've sung on Big Brother.
Yeah.
You've won several awards. But I guess all those things are there. You know, people know about them. They can Google them if they like.
Yes.
You know, you're probably one of the best artists that Uganda has ever produced. And of course, we as Ugandans are proud of you. Or at least I'm proud of you. You know, I don't know about the other, I don't know about the rest, but I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
But I see you're one of the most followed people in Uganda. But you know, the Cedric Live Show is not purely about what we've done with our lives. You know, this show was designed to educate, to inspire, to inform. Tell me about Moses Ssali. Where was he born and how did he grow up? I mean, I knew you when we were kids. You know, just tell me a little bit. Where were you born and, you know?
Well, Moses Ssali, I'm a son to Honorable former Minister, Honorable Bebe Ssali and Samali Sepuya. I'm born in a family of more than 20 siblings.
20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Uganda, and I'm Muslim. Yes. I'm the last born in my mom. I grew up in Kanyanya with my mom, single. Yes. I went to school in, I did the present Aga Khan. Those days they used to call it Kampala Primary. I also did Makonzi boarding school. Yes. And then I did Kitante for my senior 1 to senior 4. Then I did Makerere College, 1 year, senior 5, then Kolo SS, senior 6, and then that's when I joined music. I spent some good years in Nairobi, where I started what they call the actual international career. Yes. Though before I went to Nairobi, I had started pursuing music from senior 1 up to senior 5. Those are 6 good years. I'm a father of 6. Married to Zwena, you may say. Yeah,
you always talk about her.
Yeah.
You always talk about her.
Who am I without her?
You know, behind every successful man, there must be a strong woman. Yes. So tell me, the name Bebe Cool, where did it come from and why?
Well, I started music when I was really so young, and those were the days of the Shanks VVDs, the Raggadis. So I went for a concert in Abisunsa, because we used to perform in schools. So I tagged along Shanks VVD's group and went to Nabisunsa, and I had a chance to cut and raise. So when I had a chance to cut and raise, I was such a small baby. Yeah. So at the end of the concert, after Shanks performed, the students were asking him, bring back that baby, he was cool. So when I went for the gig, I didn't have a name. So when we were coming back, all the guys in the car were like, oh, that baby is cool. So when I got home, I'm like, why not Bebe Cool? And then later on, of course, because I grew up, so I found Bebe being a bit, you know, sly. Yeah. When ladies call you Bebe, so I said, let me change it to Bebe.
Hey, Bebe Cool.
So it goes to Bebe Cool.
Yeah, so you're not shy anymore?
Nah.
No. So, you go to Nairobi. Yeah. And this, you told me it was around 1997. Yes. What happens in Nairobi? Because I know there's some history with Ogopa DJs and that group.
Well, I get into Nairobi and it's not easy. These are moments, times when Ugandans are not safe in Kenya. They're being killed here and there, imprisoned. But I had pain on my heart because I needed achievement musically. Because it was difficult to penetrate the industry from home here because we weren't being given a chance. I don't know why. But it was all about Congolese, it was all about, you know, So in Kenya, when I got there, I spent 2 weeks on the streets, sleeping on the street, because I didn't have money, and I didn't know people. So during the day, I could sleep at the entrance of a hotel. I had little money. I used to pay the gate man of the hotel to keep my bag and to allow me sit with him throughout the night. And then during the day, I go hustle, look for studios, because Ugandans were a bit ahead when it comes to aggressiveness musically at that time. Right. So I went to this studio in Mombasa Road called Sync Studio. I talked to the owners. The owners just told me, show us what you can do. I had a tape which had 11 instrumentals. So the guy sent me in the opposite booth, and he went to the other booth and put in the tape, told me sing. So I sang to 11 instrumentals without stopping, because to me it was like eating chicken. Yeah, and to him it was too much shocked in life.
You had to make the point.
Exactly.
One chance.
And I hit the nail on the head, and he was like, yeah, I think you guys can work. So we started working from there. As I was working, he was a businessman. So one of those moments, he finds out I sleep on the street. So he's like, why weren't you telling me? I'm like, no, that's my business. What I needed from you, you've given me a chance. So he's like, no, come over. He gave me the apartment, started living in the apartment. So one time he's like, baby, you know what, I can't do music, I'm growing old. You have a different thing you're doing, you young people, and us guys who are old can't produce that. Can you find a producer?
Yes.
So I had a friend who knew Ogopa DJ. Ogopa is called Lucas. Lucas used to live in India.
Yes.
So we spoke, and Lucas came back to Kenya. I was lucky he was done with his work. He was in uni. So when he arrived, I just called him, he came, visited. I told him, look, this is studio, and the boss says we can work night and day. He's like, we can work night and day? Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah. So I introduced him to Mahmoud and Mohammed. Those were my bosses then. One of them, I think, passed away. Rest in peace. So from that's what they call the beginning of Ogopa DJs.
And Bebe Cool.
And Bebe Cool in East Africa. I did Miss Kenya for 4 years. Miss Kenya was an event that took me all over Kenya.
Yes.
With other artists. And then during that period, that's when Red Sun came and joined me. We worked together. And then after working with Red Sun for 1 year, Chameleon called me. He's like, hey, I want to come to Nairobi. I'm like, yeah, cool. You get a chance, you come. So when he came, I took him in, we stayed together, fed on the same plate. We took on, and I created what they call the first East African bashment crew.
Right.
That was me, Red Sun, and Chameleon. Red Sun representing Kenya and Tanzania, us guys representing Uganda. So we did our stuff, and boom, till the moment when we had to come back, Chameleon came back first with Mama Mia to Uganda, which shot high.
Yes.
And opened the doors for acceptance. Of course, there was more music here. The likes of Red Banton were playing at that time, you know. More Ugandans were playing, but us we were seen a bit different because we had come from a different environment, Kenya, and accepted.
Do you think that at that time in the 90s, I've had this discussion because in the 90s I was also playing tennis. There was this perception that athletes, entertainers, actors, actresses were not, they were not respected.
Yes.
They considered them to be, they're not serious.
Yes.
That was his term.
Yes.
They're not serious.
And that stigma was so bad for me, having been born of a politician, a prominent politician.
I had the same problem.
And having dreadlocks, because I put on dreadlocks when I went to Nairobi.
Yes.
It was such a very bad situation for me, all the way from my senior one. It was always that thing, it's son of so-and-so, son of Mtabani wa Bidandi. But I didn't look like son of him, because I didn't grow up with him.
Muyai.
Yeah, I looked like a Muyai. So during that period, it was really harsh. I mean, you've gone out of that section of books. Again, now you're wearing dreadlocks. They're related to drugs. And then you're doing music. You move night and day. You're surrounded by alcohol. But I put it aside, and I never, gave it an ear.
So do you think that, I look at artists today, do you think that struggle that you had in Kenya with Ogopa DJs, with Chameleon, is the reason that probably you and Chameleon are probably still at the top of the game today? Because you started from a very, rough point to the point that you understood the hustle.
Very true.
Because one of the issues that I've had, as you know, I dabbled in music a little bit with Kinetic, is that I found that people want to be artists. Yes. They want to be recognized as artists, but they're not willing to put in the work behind the scenes. Because when there's nobody there and you're in the studio, there's no There's no lights, there's no glamour. It's hard work, it's tiring. You know, you're producing at night, writing all day, and you know the show is only at the end. Yes. You know, once you've played on radio and it's popular, then you have the big show, and that's what people see. Yes. People want to be on that stage. Yes. But they're not willing to put in the work. Is this something that you think the youngsters don't understand?
Definitely, yes. And I keep on telling that this is what makes Bebe Cool. They say I'm controversial, they say I'm proud. But they don't know that the things I tell them are the things they must hear, not the things they want to hear.
Yes.
Those are the things behind the scenes.
Yes.
Those are the actual issues, the actual steps.
Yeah.
That if you want to get to where you think you want to get, you must never avoid them. You have to face them. Those are the challenges. So the young people or the industry in Uganda, a few of them actually, not all, I would say a few of them, they have this thought that, you know, when you tell them that this is what you went through, you're trying to, you know, brag, so they brand you in ways. But I can tell you that the only reason why it is next to impossible to put Bebe Cool down, or I would say, okay, I don't know about my friend Chameleon, because for him, you know, at the end of the day, it also comes to the person.
Yeah.
If you accept to go down, then that's you, the person.
Yes.
But with the history that Bebe Cool and Chameleon have, it should be impossible for anybody to put us down, because our history does not, our roots are not from here. Yes. Our roots are from Kenya. Yes. I believe if Joseph Mayanja, Chameleon, failed music in Uganda, the second he steps in Kenya, he's a star.
Yes.
So he can, because that's where his roots are, the actual, you know, international roots. So the whole issue is there's always a very big block of challenges.
Yes.
Behind successful people. You're never gonna be me. Yes. Because you can't bring back the Congolese to take over Uganda.
Yes.
To be the person to take away that music, to fight it to live.
Let me cut you off right there. We'll be right back. We're back on the Cedric Live show with Moses Ssali, aka Bebe Cool, and you were just telling me about you're coming back from Kenya to Uganda, and you were going to Arua, and there was a show there or something.
On my way to Arua, I stopped at Karuma, and then they can't let us go through.
Yes.
So I had been paid to perform.
Yes.
And you know, when you don't perform, I know there are issues, but there are those you can overgo, you know, in court and stuff like that. But we say, okay, fine, we need to get there. And then it's soldiers with guns of all sizes and types sitting on us, wearing bulletproofs and putting the guns through the windows to take us all the way from Karuma to Arua.
Because that time there were the rebels still in the north, yes.
And we are musicians.
Yes.
We are not doing any government work, but we are hustling to go perform. There's one of those roadblocks where we just stopped, and there's this very young boy, very short, with a very long gun with very big bullets, just asking the car to stop the car stopped at a distance, and then they spoke in a certain language, and then he wasn't very happy at all.
He wasn't convinced?
He wasn't convinced, but he said, talk up. And then we left. And then they have to make communication from the point A that there's a car coming within these hours up to this. So you can see a musician determined.
Yes, to make it. You can see the pain. When we were in Nairobi, we went through a lot of things with Chameleon. You know, we were foreigners. We weren't going to take the favor. And you know what that means when you're in a foreign country. So I think young people should first embrace challenges. Don't see them as, not to see them as problems, but to see them as those things that must come so you can overgo them. They make you either stronger or weaker. So it's your choice at that time. I think it's the discipline. I think that's what you're talking about. The discipline, the dedication, the perseverance. Because to go to Arua is...
All that may be,
yes,
but there's acceptance.
Yes.
To me, I call it acceptance. Agree before you even start anything, not only music. Just know there must be wrong things. Just like day becomes night, Just like every other time you smile, after smiling you cry. Just like, you know, when you eat you expect to pass out. There's no way you're not going to find challenges, be you the king. Even the kings, born kings, even the queen finds challenges. One of those hardest moments for the Queen of England, the death of Diana, worldwide. Those things will be there. So as long as you embrace that, accept that, you know what, I've left my mother's home.
Yes.
Now, wherever I'm going to find issues. Then.
So tell me, I know you've been a part of this music movement. I was even speaking with some of the legends from, you know, people like Shaka, who've been in the music industry as promoters, and they've seen the musical journey for a long time. And what is your take on the music industry today, you know, in Uganda? I've had a little bit of experience. I think it's difficult because there's no ecosystem that protects artists. For example, like the whole issue of copyright. So artists don't really get as many opportunities as they should.
True.
Radio stations don't pay them, TVs don't pay them. So it's hard to make a living if you can't get 30,000 people like you in Chadondo or in Lugogo Oval or in Chiwatule. You know, so what's your view? Do you think the music industry has grown, or it's just the listenership that has grown?
Well, it's both. And thank you for recognizing the fact of the listenership.
Yes.
Many people will ask you about the music industry, but they won't ask you about the listeners.
Yes.
So as much as people were who they were those days, the music industry, the artists have grown, the studios are many, the radios are many, the TVs are many, the art is high. But there's something that everyone had underestimated, the growth of the audience. How do they grow? Not by size, by expectation.
Yes.
So because of the new technology, the impression that we give them, you know, Snoop Dogg is driving an Escalade, then Bobby Wine buys an Escalade in Uganda. Jay-Z builds a house, and then
Bebe Cool goes and does a video in LA.
No, Chameleon builds a house in Uganda.
Yes.
So you're giving the Ugandans an impression that you are able, that you are at nearly the same level when it comes to the two different music industry. You're king, they're kings in their world. You're king in your world. So the difference is the quality now comes in.
Yes.
Because as Snoop does the quality, Ugandans will hear. So they expect you to do the same quality. So that's where the artists went off course.
Yes.
You say you live large, you say you live rich, and then what you produce becomes unequal to who you sell.
Yes.
I mean, you're selling, I'm Bobby Wine, I'm the biggest artist in Uganda. But then the songs you do not portray that.
Yes.
So the audience went ahead of you lying to them that you're the biggest. Yes. Because they now know if you drive an Escalade, they expect this kind of
Escalade music.
Level, Escalade music.
Yes.
They don't expect anything less. So the audience was subjected to a situation where they said, okay, now we just have to leave these guys alone. They're just lying to us.
Because, you know, I think growing up, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. And I think one of the biggest differences between music today and music then is that those days you heard the musician before you saw the musician.
Yes.
So you were not buying an image.
Yes.
You were buying the song.
Yes.
You know, like I grew up, I liked guys like who was in the 90s, guys like Tupac.
Yes.
I liked guys like who's the Jamaican guy, Buju Banton.
Yes.
You know, but if you ask me how he looked,
true. And even videos were not there.
Yeah, if you ask me how the guy looked, I would have said I don't know, but I knew the song, and there was a general consensus, which were the top 10 songs in the world.
Yes.
During a certain period. But here, what I see today is that the visual comes before the music.
The music.
And I think this is what you're talking about,
exactly.
With the Escalade music. You know, like you see videos, you see girls dancing in videos, you see people driving nice cars, and then you ask, which song is this?
Which song is this?
And who is that?
And that's where the audience got disoriented with the music. They got disconnected. So their expectations went higher because they grew, because we grew them into expecting so much.
Yes.
So that's why now today the music industry is prior to the audience. So that's why you'll find less people attending events, less people supporting certain artists.
Yes.
Because of that. So, but not everything bad is bad.
Yes.
It's now up to the artist to notice that, hey, the expectation of my audience is this. Then you do it, then they come. For example, when I decided not to perform in outdoor events, I knew one of those times a big man told me, Bebe, I want to come for your concerts, but that's not the kind of venue I would go for.
Yes.
At that moment, I knew that my expenses have grown as an artist. I put in too much, but I'm getting back less. So, which are the people that are supposed to give me more money so that I can be able to handle my expenses and make profits off? So I could tell that it's better off having 3,000 people pay 10 times. That's if a ticket is 10K in Chadondo. I said, let me have, instead of 10 people, let me have one person paying 100,000. So it becomes less trouble to organize. Yes. It becomes quality. Yeah. You walk away from the weather issues. Yes. You bring in the class of people who have not watched you for all the previous years because they couldn't come to outdoor concerts. So it's all about understanding the dynamics. But in the beginning, you must have understood to accept that when that challenge comes, I must overgo it.
Right. So tell me, you know, I'm going to say this because, and this is my personal opinion, I know that whenever you produced a song, you know, it's only recently I said to someone, I think Bebe Cool has been in the gym. You know, he's been working out heavily. I never used to watch you. I used to listen to you. Mm-hmm. You know, and then see you somewhere, you know. And I say, I know Bebe Cool's song. So that's me, that's the way I consume music. For Chameleon as well. For a long time, I think I've maybe watched him perform once or twice. Yes. But his music always sits in my mind. Same thing with the late radio and stuff like that. So I know, you know, it's interesting that a lot of your songs, especially when you release them, are hits. Is there a particular inspiration that you have that gives you, I would say it's talent.
Yes.
But whenever you write a song, you know, sometimes people, I mean, I listen to songs sometimes and I say to myself, maybe that person shouldn't have released that song.
Yes.
Because that's rubbish. Exactly. You know, maybe he was listening to himself. It's like a DJ. Some DJs play for themselves. Some DJs play for the people. And I always think that you make your music for the people because you can see it in the way they feel it. You, Chameleon, I don't know about the young ones, but you know, I'm not young, so I don't, but I'm sure the young ones have their people.
Yes.
So, what's your inspiration behind this? What gives you that thing that you can feel, what the heartbeat of the people?
It's the missing pieces.
Yes.
One, I'm an artist, but two, I'm a businessman. Yeah. I look out for that space and I go put a bridge between demand and availability. So if I notice that in the industry at a certain time, people are just dancing to high tempo music, I go think of those who don't want to dance high tempo because they are there. Or even those who are dancing high tempo when they're tired, they want something low tempo.
Yes.
I'll give you a good example. I used to discuss these things in Nairobi with a few friends of mine, the likes of Red Sun, Nameless, and blah. So one of those times, we're talking with Nameless, and Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania were high tempo music. Then Nameless just came up with Sincere.
Yes, I remember.
And the song just cut across all Africa. He saw the gap. So what it is about me is there's no way I'm going to release a song if I've not noticed a certain gap. Yeah. That's what gives me a chance to release many songs because at that moment there are so many gaps. You do a Uganda Chidandali, you know you've taken care of the guy who is in Luwero who wants to play his disco in the night. You know you have reggae fans, you do a reggae song, say la vie every day. They're English, they're Uganda, so you do two songs. You take care of those guys. You know, there are people who like listening to English music only, you do that. There are those who like to listen to Uganda, you do that. There are those who like stories, to be told, oh, you know, in Uganda we did this, we did that, then you do the styles, the Kalulenganes. There are those who don't want information in music. They just want to dance. They don't want to be told about HIV. They don't want to be told about... Then those are the ones you sing for songs like Katono, Nyenya. Just do, because there are many.
Yes.
And then there are the young who don't want to be advised.
Let me ask you something. Of all the songs you've produced, which one's your favorite one?
I can't.
Is there one that tells the story of your struggle?
No.
Something that...
I don't have any song that tells the story of my struggle, because I haven't achieved what my...
You're still a work in progress.
Yes. So I would feel cheated if I started
you haven't written your biography yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but there are songs that impress me that I do. Songs like Freedom, songs like Never Trust No People, songs that I have very rich in messages.
But you know, I think you're probably one of the best artists in Africa.
Thank you.
But of course, going through your journey, you haven't been averse to controversy.
No.
There's been a few things that have happened over the years.
Not just a few.
A few things that have happened over the years. You nearly lost your life.
Yeah, true.
And when we get back, we're going to talk a bit about the controversy and work our way towards what the other part of you that makes who you are today. Welcome back to the Cedric Live Show. We're still here with Bebe Cool, better known as Moses Ssali, or better known as Bebe Cool, but his name is Moses Ssali. So, before we went, we were speaking about you have your music career, you have you're now a Ugandan superstar, but it hasn't been without a bit of controversy. I remember a few years ago, you know, you were hurt very badly in an incident in Centenary Park. I don't know if you care to speak about it, but I know that it was a close call for you.
Yeah.
But what happened?
It was the usual things that artists go through, fights here and there. Then I got out of the bar because I had a fight with Radio and Weasel group-wise.
Yes.
Then I got out of the bar. The manager's like, just hold on outside a bit. Let me get these guys out and then get you in.
Yes.
Because we can't be in the same bar. So as we were walking out, we decided to go to the supermarket so that I can let go of my wife.
Yes.
Do shopping at night, then she goes home, then us the guys will continue with our stuff.
Yes.
So unfortunately, we bump into a policeman who's drunk.
Yes.
And I had policemen in uniform, 2. So we're walking in a big group. And he's like, you guys stop, don't come here. So I tell this other policeman, go and talk to your fellow guy. This is a road. So this guy walks to him. No sooner I did reach him, I think 2 steps before, the other guy just opened fire.
He shot at you?
He shot a fellow policeman in the same uniform with an AK-47. He picked the AK-47 from the ground and then started shooting, you know. So he shot me like 4 times, and then my bouncer...
You got shot 4 times?
Yeah. And then my bouncer, Cobra, jumped in front of me, then... Because he was like, boss, Wakuta, they're killing you. Because I couldn't even feel.
Yeah, because of adrenaline.
I was in shock.
Yeah.
And then he stands in front of the AK-47 and is shot 6 times. And but he pushed me away from the mouth of the AK. So we managed to escape, run here and there, tagged on cars, went to Nsambia Hospital. Lucky enough, it was about 5 people who had been shot, 1 policeman and 4 of us guys, and lucky enough, no one lost life.
Well, it's very unfortunate, you know, I mean, that's such a shame. But was there any lesson in that? Was there anything that you learned from that?
Yeah, everything, everything. You know, I think humans must know everything they do has only the power of humans. The rest is left for God. Because I've lost so many friends, one bullet.
Yes.
In weird places. Arm, leg, one in the stomach, and guys die. But it's so amazing on how us guys are still alive.
10 bullets between you.
10 bullets between two people, AK-47, short range, and life has all of a sudden restarted and continued. So everything teaches you something. And that's where you tell the line between the things you can do and the things God does. You can live and say that it doesn't exist, but the actual fact is it does.
One of my favorite songs is God's Plan by Drake. Not because it's Drake,
Yes.
but because of what it's actually saying
Yes.
in the video. And many times I always say to myself when something happens, it's God's plan.
Yeah,
You know?
because humans want to exceed the line of their capabilities, yet there's something already prepared for you
Yes.
after that line.
Yes.
So when you do what you do, and at a certain time you reach somewhere, just know it at the back of your mind that wherever you stop, there's a plan that is set for you. And there's only one person who sets that. Because if I look at the things I've gone through, really, I should not be alive.
Yes.
Car accidents, such performances in places where there are battles. I've been to South Sudan in the middle of that hottest thing, but I took a group of 40 young men and women with instruments and everything. We performed in 6 different towns that had fire, performing for rebels. Little
Imagine.
did we know.
So maybe music is
Yes,
the language of love.
Yes,
because
it's
it
a
calms
language of
everybody
love,
down.
but don't over-test certain things.
Yeah, don't push the limits.
Don't push the limits.
So tell me, so in Uganda, I've been reading, and it's something that I wish will go away. I see, even way back, the battles between artists.
Yes.
Sometimes I think when I read it, some of them are so ridiculous in nature, I think that it's staged managed to create more popularity. Or I just can't believe that grown men and women can have this beef. I remember, of course, I wasn't sure whether it was you and Chameleon or Chameleon and you or whatever it was, and there was this whole thing going on, and I couldn't understand. But these two are brothers. How do they get into this predicament? Because in families, as we know, we close the door, lock, put the curtains, close the curtains. You swing, you get tired, you agree, and you go. You don't go outside and start shouting so the neighbors can hear you fighting. So what was all this beef? And I've seen it with other artists,
Beef in music is it's impossible to stage manage it because it appears. The beef that we've had has been as a result of space. There's one seat in the front, and all of us want to sit in that one seat.
But is there one seat?
Yes.
But is there any listener?
It's
We talked about listeners.
Yes.
Like for me, I have an iPod. And on my iPod, I have Spotify. So I have Bebe Cool, I have Chameleon, I have Apas, I have Sheba, I have Ayin Ntale, I have Lillian, I have many different artists.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, I don't rate it as I'm listening to the king.
Yes.
I rate it as this is just a good song.
Unfortunately,
It's just a good song,
Unfortunately for us, it's applicable.
Yes.
For the business, it's applicable. I'll give you a good example. There wasn't going to be any development in the music industry without that collision. This industry is called the showbiz industry.
Yes.
The business that you have, you must show the business that you have.
Yes.
Now, every time my other guy shows something that I haven't shown, it has to pique in me that,
hurts you.
I have to, yes, of course. So I have to show better.
But wouldn't it be better? Let's say somebody produces a great song, great video, whatever. You've just produced a beautiful video in LA.
Yes.
I watch it all the time, and I say to myself, if I was an artist, you know what I would do? I would go to the other side. I would go to Miami and try and produce.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
But that's not beef.
No,
that's competition.
But you see what it does is if I get anybody to challenge that video, unfortunately, I'm not going to sit back.
Yeah, but
I'm just going to go back and do it 2 times.
But does it mean if I meet you in a public place, we're going to fight?
This is where the cost will come from.
Yes.
Comes in the audience that says, no, this one is better or that guy is better.
Yes.
But you believe you're better.
Yes.
And then the other person is saying you're not better than this other guy.
Yes.
Now, even the guy stands on his fans and says, my fans say I'm better.
Okay.
Even you stand there and you say your fans say you're better.
Yes.
So that's where it begins.
And then it grows.
And then it grows. Remember, most of us got into the music industry in the ages of adolescence, ages that don't listen, ages that... And then again, don't forget the Uganda music industry has no front gear driver. The likes of those people who had made it, the likes of the late File Bongo Lutaya, Eli Wamala, did not do things the way we're doing them.
Yes.
The late File lived in Sweden. Bebe Cool, Jose Chameleon have been in Uganda since we became, from zero to today.
Yes.
Now, for us, we saw the gap. There was East Coast in the US and West Coast. The whole of America could listen to both songs, but they still collided. Who's better? So there's always going to be the leader.
Right.
And that leader will always have a bigger share of the cake. So every one of us in life work for that share of the cake.
Yes.
I'll give you a good example. That's why my concerts are always packed. That's what I fight for.
Yes.
That's why I get the respect I get. That's why I get the attention that I get. That's what we fight for. So there's no way you're going to stop APAS from wanting to sit in my position because he wants that same cake.
Correct.
Now, for us, the beef, what I tried to advise my young people, my young brothers, was to keep it positive competition, not negative. We could fight, but we made sure no weapons. Physical fighting, when physical fighting was inevitable,
yes,
we made sure there wasn't any weapon. Until the other level of artists came in. I remember one of those artists who I can't mention a name, who stabbed another group member, and then the group member later on died.
Yes.
So what was beautiful about our industry was that when you fought, even your audience stood by you.
So they started fighting too.
So that's what made Congolese leave. It made Jamaicans leave because they are not here to create that heat.
Yeah, they're not here physically. Yes.
Cedric could easily hear the newspapers. Actually, even media today has become active because of the music industry in Uganda.
Yes.
They can now do anything. Because those days they had nothing to write about. But when we began those clashes, you could see that a media guy can write anything. They wrote about the singers, they wrote about the parents, they wrote about... So the competition was positive for the music industry. Just like you see
yes.
MTN and Airtel.
Let me ask you a question. You know, you guys who are, leaders of the game.
Yes.
You, Chameleon, Bobby Wine, some of the older ladies, the girls who've been in the game for a long time. One thing that I always wondered was why you guys with your followings couldn't sit together to form a consortium that would, number one, seek to increase your wealth through copyright law, whether it was petitioning Parliament, whether it was petitioning the powers that be, creating the ecosystem that would make you wealthier, so that, you wouldn't have to solely, well, you're a businessman, yes. But many people retire solely on their music.
Yes.
Now, why haven't the artists in Uganda come together, sat around the table, and said, let's sit together. If these guys, radios are making money out of your music. Because when you have a hit and you take it to Capitol, Sanyu, wherever, right? And everybody, there's 10 different hits, right? That playlist is making them millions of shillings, but they're not giving you a check every year.
Yes.
The other day I was reading an article, 50 Cent in the Club,
yes.
which was written maybe 12, 13, 14 years ago, still makes him $1 million a year on playback. Now, why hasn't that happened with Ugandan artists? Why can't you guys work together, lock it down, say to the radio stations, we're not giving you music anymore for free. If you don't give us a piece of that pie, we're not giving you our music.
Well, I think the whole issue has been, we all go back to the politics and management of Uganda and the attention given to different sectors and the prioritization of development in the country. When you look at artists, doctors, teachers, sports, as sectors, you get to understand that if you were to prioritize attention, if you were in the government, the artists would have come last. You get to understand that. Now, this was because the industry had not really blown. If I may ask you, 30 years ago, it is very difficult for you to mention 5 names of an Iteso artist who was known in Uganda.
Yes.
A Lugbara artist who was known in Uganda. Karamajong artist. But today, those names are there.
Yes.
So the attention that could have been given needed the industry to blow up a bit. Secondly, the artists needed to pull the attention of the government. Yes, you can petition the parliament. Yes, you can, but how many things does the parliament have to prioritize to put into interest? There's the law. The law is there. It was passed. We petitioned, we did what? The law is there. Their offices, copyright, whatever offices, they collect money from the radios. They do. They eat the money. Now, the question is, did the government have an idea that it can pick a lot of taxes from the music industry or the entertainment industry so that they can streamline it beyond just putting the laws?
Yes.
Because what was important was streamlining the industry.
Right.
Now, streamlining the industry, the government could not do that because it wasn't sure it could make money from it. So you can't invest money in something that wasn't going to bring back money, because you could have done that if the economy of the country was good, if the lives of the people, was okay. But if you look at the medical sector, the health sector, you look at the education sector, so the government could not have done the things that were necessary for the music industry because they require money. Now,
but I think this is a debate even in sports. They consider entertainment and sports areas that consume money, that will never produce money. So when this is tabled before parliament or is tabled before a ministry, they say, why put money into a music convention?
Exactly.
Why put money into a sports convention?
This is what I did individually. I noticed that there was the only person who can understand the music industry and be of help would be any leader at the top. Because the many will never understand.
Right.
That's the main reason why I chased on being a friend to the president.
Yes.
And staying a musician, not going into politics. Hold on a second. When I become a friend to the president,
yes,
there is an ear. Then we came back down here and started performing close to those people who can understand us. That's why people like Bebe Cool stopped performing in open grounds where ministers don't go, where the president won't sit, and decided to go to Serena, where he can come and see. Because the presidents in Africa go to the US and watch concerts. Why wouldn't they walk and watch their own people? Because where you put the event seems like they won't even know or come.
Yes.
But here at Serena, now he knows.
Yes.
When he sees thousands of people, so he gets to understand, he says, oh, so these kids have crowds. These kids command crowds.
Yes.
The ministers sit until the level of a musician even joining politics of late and showing how powerful the music industry can be.
Correct.
So as we speak now, the journey is at the end point, what we call the turning point, where now government must pay full attention
to the music industry.
To the music, to the entertainment industry,
right,
which also will carry the sports industry.
Of course.
Now, Yesterday I saw a piece of paper that is going around social media where different laws are being put on artists. Artists are so worried and annoyed.
Why?
I was happy because of course the laws are so tight.
Yes.
But there's no way you're gonna put laws on me if you don't protect my income. For me, I'm okay. Let them put every law. Let them ask me to pay 40% taxes on even the glass of juice, as long as every coin of mine is protected and it comes to me. So it's okay. Let the government, let the ministry lay down the laws and they take them to the parliament. They pass them. Immediately, the second they pass them, they're going to have to go backwards and make a route through which my money must come to me.
Do you consider yourself to be a politician?
Not of course.
But recently, you have been very politically vocal. And as far as I'm concerned, when you're politically vocal,
yes,
it's not the title or the office.
Yes.
It is what you say, yes, and what you do,
yes,
that determines that you're a politician. Yes. So me, I'm going to add to all musician, director, producer, businessman, I'm going to add on the end, yes, politician.
Politician.
Simply because I'm also going to take the words from your mouth.
Yes.
The minute you can command an audience of 30, 40,000 people,
yes,
in one sitting,
yes,
like you do, like you did on 26th of January in Chihuahua,
yes,
I consider you to be a politician. Now, it doesn't really matter what you tell them. Yes. You're a politician because you have all these people. And just like this, you can grill beef.
After your explanation, yeah, maybe I can say yes.
Maybe you can grill beef, like you talked about, yeah, because all these people will stand behind you. Yeah. You can promote your music.
Yes.
Or you can do whatever you want to them because they follow you religiously. Yeah. And some of them have followed you for 10, 15. Some of them were born post 1986.
Yes.
So some of these guys are now 30, 33.
Yes.
So some of them started listening to music to Bebe Cool in 1998, 2000. So you can imagine for 20 years, these guys have followed you.
Yes.
Now, I've been seeing a lot of things. I've been hearing a lot of things. And it's very obvious that you are very good friends with the president of Uganda. And with the national resistance movement. The question is, to me, is why would you use your audience of 30 or 40,000, which generates you huge amounts of income, right, and your following, to promote the ideology of NRM and by extension, the President of the Republic of Uganda? Why wouldn't you just make your money
and go
build your houses, secure your 6 children's future, so they don't have to go and sleep at a hotel door in Nairobi? Of course, you always talk about Zwena. I don't think there's a more talked about woman by her husband than Zwena. I think she even has more followers than you. But
oh, yeah.
Yes, she has more followers than you.
Oh, yes.
But me, I'm not going to follow her because you're my friend. So, anyway, so the thing, what I want to ask is, what is that? What is that? Why would you do that?
Well, it's because of the bigger picture. If I have worked with this president, I have worked within his time.
Yes.
And I have become a better person. A person who is appreciated by everyone.
Yes.
I have been put by everyone in my position.
Yes.
Using my brain, but under the same person, the same president, within his regime.
Yes.
Then I would be very selfish,
yes, not
to share that information.
Because he has given you the opportunity,
exactly,
to become Bebe Cool.
Yes.
So
the opportunity not only to me, he has given us the opportunity to become better people. Yes. But now, the opportunity to become better people depends on the interpretation.
Right.
So for me as Bebe Cool, it doesn't make sense for me if I have the houses, the cars, as you said, I make my money, I make the cars, I buy the cars, I look after, I guarantee my kids' lives. When my neighbor is gonna give birth to thugs, kids who are poor, who are gonna become thugs, shoot my kids on the street, or stab them or
Yes.
break into my houses.
Yes.
Now, if I know that I can help my neighbor see how I saw things, the question would be, can my neighbor ask me, how did you become Bebe Cool? How did you become Bobby Wine? How did you become better?
Yes.
So that's the message. I must not leave the NRM until people have learned how I became who I am, so that they can become like me. So it's an obvious situation here. The president came so that peace was very important. When he put peace, the next thing was at least roads, which lies under infrastructure.
Yes.
Because you weren't going to put roads and hospitals before peace. Who was going to build the roads if there were wars?
Security. Yeah.
The security was paramount, first priority. So once he put the security, then the guys started making the roads. We started going to Arua and Koboko.
Okay.
So by going there, we made the money. So that's what I want to teach.
Yes.
Now, when I teach these people, I stop their kids in the future from stabbing my kids.
Correct.
I make sure that I share the same information. So either you choose to take the information or not, so that you don't blame me.
Right. You know, I mean, I'm in agreement with you, and I'll tell you why. And this is now Cedric speaking. Yes. I'm speaking, not because I'm on UBC, but I'm speaking as myself. Yes. We grew up in exile. And when we were in exile, I went to a school in Nairobi, which was mainly made up of foreign children, white children. And I knew I was Ugandan, but that was all. I'm a Ugandan. Where are you from? Uganda. I didn't know, I had never been to Kampala. I had heard people speaking Luganda, but I didn't know, apart from that, I didn't know much. I knew other Ugandan families. So, post-1986,
yes,
we come back to Uganda in the late 80s, and all of a sudden I realized this country was in disarray. Coming from Entebbe airport, roadblocks, potholes. From Entebbe to Kampala was, I don't know, it's still the same distance, but then where it was to where it is today is a drastic improvement.
Yeah, of course.
You know, and I remember people lining up for sugar. I couldn't even call it load shedding. There was just no electricity.
There was no.
You could smell paraffin everywhere. People lining up for fuel.
Yes.
People, you know, so on and so forth. So that is my basis.
Yes.
On which I subscribe to NRM, yes, because I remember it as it was. Yes. Uganda
and how
as
it is today.
And how it is today.
True.
Now, when we get back, I want us to talk a little bit about how far that ideology has gone for you, because now it's getting a bit more controversial and a bit more heated.
True.
But
Very
we'll
true.
talk about it when we get back. We're back here on the Cedric Live Show with Bebe Cool. So Bebe, I was talking to you about, and you didn't answer me. I said to you that by virtue of circumstance, by virtue of audience,
yes,
by virtue of your music,
yes,
by virtue of your relationship with the president, you have become a politician. You may not necessarily hold political office,
yes,
as a member of parliament or as a minister. So do you consider yourself to be a politician?
Well, by your explanation, then I'll have to agree.
Yes, you have to agree. Now, why I'm asking is that quite recently, the politics of Uganda has sort of got intertwined with the music industry. Yes. And I'll be very specific. The issue of Honorable Chagulanyi, aka Bobby Wine, and his parliamentary position, what he stands for, his rhetoric, and his ideology of people power, and what you believe in terms of the NRM and the president of Uganda and what the NRM stands for. Why is it so personal to you? Because you know, there was Besigye, there's Mugisha Muntu, there's we even had Mabirizi. We've had different opposition
yes,
leaders.
Yes.
What is it about let me use his stage name, Bobby Wine, that really gets you going? Because, you know, I can see it, you know, to some extent, you even comment on this issue. What is it?
Well, first and foremost, people must understand, to me, he appears in two different people. There's Honorable Kyagulanyi, who was registered as Kyagulanyi for politics and parliament, but there's Bobby Wine, who has been competing with Bebe Cool for the last 20 years or more.
Yes.
So people must never forget that he never ceased to be a musician, because he has not come up to say he's no longer a singer, he's a politician. So he still releases songs.
Yeah,
and I do release songs.
Yes.
So the competition still is going to be the same or even tighter.
Yes.
Because the second is being put in front of me where he wasn't, just because of the politics, I will definitely hit back and get in front of him musically.
So are you actually saying that this is, you know, it's like we're in a race?
It's a race for the music.
Yes.
But don't forget that I have been involved in politics for the last 17 years.
Yes.
Singing for the president, doing campaigns for the president, doing albums for NRM. My father was working with the president as the NRM. He left. When he left, I stayed in the NRM. And then Honorable Kyagulanyi has just come 2 years, not even just into parliament, but 2 years into politics.
Right.
So, putting that in the mind, it was imbalanced before. It was just the NRM that had an artist who could say a word or two about politics and the livelihood of Uganda, the way things are going in Uganda. Then came in another artist. So now it became balanced.
Right.
Okay? And lucky enough, the artist came in on the opposition that opposes the NRM to represent those who disagree with the NRM.
Yes.
Okay? Which is perfect. Now, yes, we had our issues, and I've put them forward as artists, that I think he owes me an apology for whatever he did. He acknowledges what he did, but I've not seen an apology.
What is he apologizing for?
Disrespecting my wife and my father in songs. Those are no-go lines in the music industry and in maturity, of which of late I would have expected him to quickly say, I apologize publicly.
Yes.
Apologizing, because it doesn't take anything. But because I know there's still an ego flying, and I gotta shoot it down until that day when he does apologize. So the music beef can go aside. And then we can logically stay arguing out our positions. The positions are, I took a position to support the president. I might be supporting the NRM 50-50 because there's a lot of people who have done so much bad in the NRM, so much damaging, that damaging makes my president look like
a
no
bad
work
person,
done.
Yes.
Okay? So that's where I disagree with so many people.
When you say they've done bad, what do you mean? Are you talking about issues like corruption? Are you talking about issues like...
No, corruption, yes, 100%, but I wouldn't put it in the front.
Yes.
There's a lot of things that have led to all that.
Yes.
Okay? People pretending to be working with the president for the good, but their intentions were different. So they're the ones who set up all those angles. I mean, if you employ somebody who you know very well, you and him are only planning to steal money, the fact that you're employed there and you're employing a person to steal, before the corruption comes, you already had it in plan. That when I become the prime minister, I will put different people in different positions because this guy doesn't seem like he's giving up the seat. When I put 300 people in the government and then they start doing bad things, the people will fight. When the people fight, I'm just giving an example.
Yes.
When the people fight back, then the government may go down. Now, that's not corruption. That's planned.
That's
fighting.
Impunity.
Yes, that's impunity.
Yes.
within the NRM. So I become very unhappy and with these kinds of people because they tarnish the president's name. Now that's on the side of the NRM. On the side of the opposition, he comes in to represent the so-called oppressed, those who are looking for freedom, which freedom I don't know they're looking for, because for me the freedom, I think they used the wrong concept, the wrong word. They needed to be to find out the meaning of the word freedom, and many other issues that they feel. But for me, his move was okay politically. Yes. I expect every Ugandan to agree that we chose multi-party politics. Yes. As a country. We were never going to be on the same page. Right. It is automatic the second the referendum agreed that it's multi-party politics in Uganda, we were all going to be on different pages.
So are you trying to say that you don't have a problem with Kyagulanyi
being on the opposition?
No, with Kyagulanyi as an MP?
Yes.
But your problem
I have a problem with him as an MP too.
Okay.
His ideology.
Tell me, let's start there. Because we're going to separate the two issues.
Yes.
The first issue is Honorable Kyagulanyi as a member of parliament.
Yes.
What is Bebe Cool's issue,
with
Moses Ssali's issue,
yes,
with Honorable Kyagulanyi?
The member of parliament.
Yes.
Misleading young people.
Yes. How is he misleading them?
I would have expected Honorable Kyagulanyi, he stands the better chance to show these young people how they can make a life.
Yes.
How they can become better people. Yes. How they can achieve. How they can be rich. How they can be like him.
So what you're saying
to
is
me,
that
instead, I see a person who is showing them how they can die. Okay? How they can misinterpret things. For example, from the history that you've had here briefly about us guys, we grew up in Uganda. We started working in Uganda. We have become rich in Uganda. Honorable Kyagulanyi was the first musician to build, amongst the three of us, the big three. Yes. He was the first musician to build a house. He was the first musician to drive an Escalade. Okay? Before he made 28 years, by record in Uganda, you have such a mansion. By record in Uganda, you drive Escalades. Not even MPs were driving those cars. Not even, businessmen were driving those cars. Okay? So for me, when he came up with the idea of disagreeing with the NRM, first I thought he was going to do it objectively. Because there's obviously things that have not gone well.
Yes.
Okay? Which we agree. Yes. But the second he brought the radicalism of trying to let me think, or let the youth think, that the president has not contributed, has not done anything. The second he starts telling Ugandans that there is no freedom in Uganda. These are obvious issues that will definitely never ever be allowed by people with sanity. Yes. You cannot wake up in the morning and tell me that the message you are going to send to the youth is fighting government. The youth will never achieve.
You are of the view that
he should have told them
he has misused
his position,
his people power.
No. He has misused his position as an artist to mislead youth in Uganda who are not even desperate for what he's trying to tell them, to promise them. Yes. For example, these guys are young, between the age of 21 and 35. Yes. Okay? I myself, I just got my first house at 41. Yes. Why does he want to tell these young people who are 28, 29 that it's getting late for them to build a house? Just because he built one at 28. Right. But there can be a house at 55. The point is, I needed Honorable Kyagulanyi to use Bobi Wine as an example to the youth. I agree with Bobi Wine. He actually opened up my eyes on one thing. Yes. I've been in the politics close to the president, but I had never seen the gap that, these old politicians are about to exit. Yes. So there's gap. Now, when there's gap, you don't just jump from 0 to 100 in the gap. You just start working on it gradually.
Yes.
So I thought my guy is just getting in immediately because he's not been politically oriented like me. I was born of a politician. I've lived my life around politicians. And I've worked with the president like 17 years.
Yes.
So for him, it's from the blue. From Kagoma Kalwendera, boom, to MP. Now, I would have thought that he was ready to groom himself, okay, into politics, into a politician that is objective, into a person that has a crowd that is going to follow him. Young people are going to grow with him, to follow him into the right position. Why? He has everything in place in Uganda. Bobby Wine never spent a year in Kenya. Everything he has done in Uganda, in President Museveni's regime.
Yeah, he was born in 86. So I mean, he was born when they came in, when the NRA took over Kampala.
How come? Why would he preach that this is the worst government? Okay. Why would he preach there is no freedom? Why would he preach everything bad? Yet he has managed to maneuver and become a rich man, a father, successful husband, property. He has Busabala Beach, which is valued at billions. Okay, he has his Magere mansion and land, which is valued at billions. He has Kamocha here, the part of KCC is supposed to be land where he built Semako Kilo Plaza.
Yes.
We are talking, unless if I'm talking about a different person, okay? So for me, I would say he would have taught the youth how we became who we are. They would trust him more, because they have an example that he's the example. But if he did not fight the government to become rich like he is, why is he telling young people to defy the government? He should have told them to come, work hard, and then find ways of attracting the attention of the government. Better ways, not ways that can make the young people lose their lives.
Now let me ask you. You've talked about the issue that you have with Honorable Chagulanyi.
Yes.
You said there's another issue.
Yes.
You now have an issue with Bobby Wine, the musician.
Yes.
What's that issue?
That is the issue where he went into songs and started disrespecting my wife and my father, which at any level of sanity, be you young, because he uses that excuse of, oh, we were young then and blah, blah. Fine, if you were young, all it takes is an apology. All I want is a public apology. He has made Jose Chameleon make a public apology before. And he's the one, actually Bobby Wine is the one who inspired me for what they call public apologies. So what I want is just a public apology, and then I will stop having issues with Bobby Wine. We can have a cup of tea and then discuss politics.
So do you think that we could sit in this room, the three of us?
After that apology?
After that apology?
100% every day.
So Bobby Wine, you've heard. Honorable Chagulanyi, you've heard. Please apologize to the man, because I don't think it's right to abuse anybody's family. They're not part of it. Exactly.
They're not part of
it. But, you know, in summary, Moses Ssali, aka Bebe Cool, where do we go from here? You know, we're moving into a time where we're getting a little bit older. The political landscape is changing. We're on the face of I don't know whether it will be an economic boom with the oil industry. You know, there's going to be a lot of changes in Uganda in the next 10 years.
Yes.
So, where is Moses Ssali, aka Bebe Cool, in this story? Where do you see yourself? I'm not going to ask you what you're going to do in retirement, because I was told by a musician recently, musicians don't retire. You know, they just keep going and going. You know, either they stay somewhere.
They do retire at a certain time. So, okay, my whole direction is simple. I want to be constructive towards young people, because now it's not a story of just Uganda having 70% youth and you know, we just keep singing that issue. No, we have to be of help, because these are the same people who are going to be dangerous to us in the future. Our own children. You can see the rowdiness.
Yes.
Okay. If it is at that level at this time, how about if you don't help the situation? So I'm a good example of what this government is and how you can work from 0 to 100. Contacts. Work with the right people. if you know you're looking for money, you don't go to a morgue. You go to a bank. If you know the issue, in that sense, this is what I mean. It's always a government that has a budget for its people in its country. So when you walk away from the government, that means you're walking away from the money. I'm using basic thinking now. Yes. I don't need to use that economical thinking of, too much English. Let me just say this. When you wake up in the morning and you want money, you go to a bank.
Yes.
You don't go to a morgue. So the youth in Uganda are being given a wrong direction of hate the government. Show them your back. Look away. But how can you show the person who has what you need, you show them your back, instead of you walking to them?
And explaining your case.
And explaining your case.
I think this is a big problem even on social media now. I see the default mechanism is to insult, to abuse, to create division.
I'm not worried about social media because social media is just about to be controlled in Uganda.
Yes.
I mean, China controls it.
Yes.
I mean, those angles are going to come, but here is a view of Bebe Cool in the next 10 to 15, 20 years.
Yes.
I just want young people to know that there's no way you can achieve something if you come in aggressively with fighting. We have a chance as young people to learn a lot from these old people. These old people know the corners of this country. Uganda is not Kampala. No. The biggest issues are actually here in the center. Where opposition politicians made it look like the whole Uganda does not agree with the president. I keep on telling them, sorry, the biggest numbers are out of Kampala, out of the centers of opposition. That's why the president is untouchable. He gives people what they require: water, food, roads, according to the priorities. Okay, I learned a lot when it comes to prioritization. The president has never spoken to me about politics or anything, but I studied him and I studied the way things are moving in Uganda, and I summarized them into what they call priorities. What comes first and what can come last, no matter how hard and tough the one that comes last is, but it couldn't have come first. There's no way you could tackle corruption in Uganda when the economy was low. What were people going to steal if there was no money in the system? You had to create a situation where there is money, and then that's when the corruption is exposed, like now you see. It is exposed because the economy is taking off.
Yes.
So you couldn't have built schools before roads, because kids need to use the roads to go to school. They're talking about lack of employment. Lack of employment comes because those days in Uganda, young people died at earlier ages because of funny diseases like malaria.
Yes.
Of late, the president has managed to control these diseases, and now the people who used to die at early ages are now growing.
Yeah, in 1986 there were 11 million people. Today there are 42 million.
Thank you.
So you can see there's a growth in the population.
There's growth in population. So instead of using it against him, you should be crediting him for saving lives before you question him of lack of jobs. Now, how do lack of jobs come? I understand that young people, there are those who are educated and those who are uneducated. Those who are uneducated never ceased, they never stopped to go in the garages, to kukanika mamotoka, to dig, to sing. But the ones who are educated are now the problem. They are the ones who lack employment. Now, how does that come? It comes because the president has put a system for more people to be educated before he puts a system of putting industries. Why would he put more jobs for people who are not educated? First educate the people and then look for their jobs. Don't look for jobs and then you go backwards educating people. These are the explanations that young people need from people like me and Bobby Wine. Now, there's more educated young people in the country. Now we can start to think about the fact. I love this president, I'm telling you. He saw that it's factories that we need in the country. For factories to be there, we needed electricity. Now dams are everywhere. So there'll be more factories to be,
and create more employment.
To create more employment. So, and in that form, more youth who are educated can work in those.
So in effect, what you're saying is that the young people should have faith in their leader.
Yes.
Understand that he had a vision for this country. in terms of what we've done. There are mistakes, but mistakes, everybody makes them.
Of course.
Everybody. It doesn't matter whether you're young, old, or whatever it is. And we need to focus. What you're saying is we need to focus on taking that education, putting it into the manufacturing industries, industrializing agriculture, and so on and so forth.
And learning from the older guys. These guys have a lot that they are just about to die with.
Yes.
I would have appreciated Bobi Wine as an independent member of parliament with an independent mind. A mind that goes to question Dr. Kizza Besigye and a mind that questions President Museveni. Yes. Because you need knowledge. You need to understand why Besigye is not working with Museveni. But you must also understand why Museveni is not working with Besigye. When you put those two together, then you become the one who can work with both. Now, Museveni can teach you why he never put an army barracks on City Square. Yes. And he tells you why it is in Bombo. Okay? So what does the young man know about the army? Zero. What does the young man know about the economy? The economists, recently when I started arguing things like this, then they started telling me, no, we are only using Bobi Wine to create change and blah, blah, blah. Oh, so
it's change for the sake of change.
So it has become change for the sake of change without you being prepared. And that's why the likes of Bebe Cool, we cannot take those chances. We must stick to leadership. We must stick to people who are still taking us the further, no matter how hard it is, as we prepare. So I want my young brother to think twice quickly. We have an issue of white people, you know, the Europeans, foreign governments having interest in two African countries. I think this is the time where he should shame those Europeans. Turn around, make a U-turn, call on your president, ask for a sitting. Go and tell him your issues. Then start learning from them. Let your president prepare you for what office you want. People like me will give you more respect. When you can sit with Museveni as Bobi Wine and have a meeting, and then I'm at a reception, me, I'm waiting to talk about music issues, you're there making issues with him. Take the many thousands of youth who are behind you. Tell him now, Mr. President, I have my people, we disagree with you on this and this. So, give us an idea. Why is it like this and this? Understand him. Then show him where things are going wrong, because the president is not alone in management of the country.
Yes.
Then work with him. As your time to be in that office comes.
Yeah.
You're not going to jump. Who tells you that I can allow an artist to sit in that seat if I'm also there? That is bogus.
Okay, in summary, Bebe Cool, I hope all these things you've said, 2021 is coming.
We're already done with 2021.
No, we are done as NRM. Yes. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about Bebe Cool. We need to see you on the floor of Parliament.
I know. No. Unless if I'm invited as a Ugandan.
To Parliament. Parliament, you invite yourself to Parliament. Nobody's invited to Parliament. Only the President of Uganda. So I hope in 2021, you see, because you're saying a lot of things here. You're saying a lot of things about what we should teach our youth. And we have to put ourselves in those positions so that they will listen to you. If you're MP for Kampala Central, you can counter all these arguments on the floor of Parliament.
But so, you know, these arguments cannot only be in Parliament.
True. But what I'm saying is, at the end of the day, you listen to the foreign powers, you know, talking about how they want to investigate the state of Uganda. I think that's rubbish. It's total rubbish. It's none of their business, because they do a lot of things that we would like to question. Yeah. They will tell us that they give us donor money. Yes, they give us donor money, but it's against programs.
Yes.
You know, they directly fund projects that benefit their people. So, you know, 60% of the money that's given by donors is spent on consultants anyways from their countries.
Yes.
So that to me is not even important. But for us who are in positions to influence the youth, if you want to influence the youth, you've got to go and take that office. So I'm going to ask you, Moses Ssali, future Honorable Moses Ssali, right? AKA Bebe Cool, right? We'll be waiting for you in 2021. And thank you for coming on the Cedric Live Show at short notice. I appreciate it, my brother. And I hope that everybody watches this show and he has a lot more. I know you're always on forums where people are pulling you left and right, but I think you've had the opportunity to express yourself. So before we go, just 2 sentences to the youth of Uganda on anything you like, whether it's your music, whether it's watch a video, watch a song. And from me, I wish you the best, my brother. Thank you for contributing to the development of this country.
Thank you. To the youth of Uganda, I love you so much, guys. Thanks for, putting us in the position where we are today, because you've supported us musically. I also want you to emulate who we are. Don't look beyond our lines. Look within our lines. See how we've made it. Please persist within those lines, because Uganda is a virgin country for success. We're not like US or Britain, where opportunities have already been taken. There's 100% opportunities in this country. They're next to you. All you just have to do is to interpret what is next to you and make money out of it. Don't wait. Don't look into employment. Look into more of self-employment. The smallest things that are around you are the things that make money. You don't think about these buildings, the loans and everything. No, don't make sense. So we love you as young people. I love you so much, and keep Gargamel fronting, and Bebe Cool, #1. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, brother. Tell me something. I saw a few, I don't know when it was, when Buju Banton was released.
It was in 97.
Yeah. So you're friends because you posted something on Facebook.
The first person to bring him to Africa was me.